Ready?
Yeah, but like normally we say something silly and then I start.
We say something silly?
I say something silly.
I don't know anything about silly.
Hello and welcome to the ParkStop podcast, episode 6. Today we're going to talk about the officially announced Harry Potter themed roller coaster.
Yay!
But before we get started, remember you can catch us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Plus, we have a video version on YouTube with additional visuals.
And thank you, Patreon people, too. We appreciate everybody's support, but especially them because they're helping us pay for stuff.
We do have a little bit of news before we get to the big news, which was the day after we put out that podcast about Epcot. Apparently, Disney was listening and implemented nearly everything we talked about.
What a surprise.
That was a really weird coincidence.
Yeah, I suppose. But I got to say, that picture they released looks awesome. I'm
Of
really,
the entry,
really,
the entry courtyard.
yeah. I'm stoked to see a good courtyard back. The original was so nice.
It's still so weird. Like I'm in the background of like half the segment just saying, I want the old fountain back. I want the old fountain. They're bringing back the old fountain. Rob said we should rip the faceplates off the leave a legacy stones to save space. They're going to rip the faceplates off to save space. It's just so weird, but I'm glad to see like in the art, like lots of greenery added, and they're moving the leave a legacy to just outside the turnstiles, not into the water. but just outside, not wrapped around. Well, we don't know. It could be still wrapped around the monorail railings or the water fountains. We don't know yet.
They should just tack them on the side of a monorail, then everybody could see them, and all those faces get to have a nice view of everything in Disney that the monorail goes by.
I also like how there was a quote that Disney said they're going to clean them up and make them look better than ever. So I wonder if they're going to reprint them instead of just taking them off the stones.
They might. That'll probably be easier for them long term, but I don't know.
If they still have the files, they're on a zip drive somewhere.
We have everybody's face. We're good to go. So I did notice something in the picture, though. Did you notice that it looks like the building that's underneath Spaceship Earth wasn't even in the picture?
Yeah, it did look like it's just like empty space. There's the pillar in the center, and then it did look kind of like, or at least the queue was missing. I don't know if we could see the building, but it did look like something was different over there.
Yeah, it looked like the background too. You could see grass where the building usually would be. It was kind of strange. I wonder what they're leaving out there.
Can you imagine if they like actually completed the bottom of it and we just like could see straight underneath the ball and then you enter in the back?
I'm gonna say that'd be pretty rad. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. The new play pavilion taking over Wonders of Life was also announced. So
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. That picture looks a lot like one of the areas of one of the casinos up here.
Oh, which one?
I think it looks
Foxwoods?
Yeah, I think it actually does. There's an area that looks like a downtown area, like a theater and stuff. I was like, oh, it looks like the casino.
I think it's supposed to. It looks exactly like Ralph Breaks the Internet, but then they took away anything that was Ralph Breaks the Internet related because there's a downtown area in Ralph Breaks the Internet with like emoji faces, Disney emoji and stuff, and it looks just like that. So I wonder if this was supposed to be Ralph Breaks the Internet tie-in, and then they realized, well, let's just kind of make it not limited to one brand, and then we can make it everything.
Yeah, it'll be a little more timeless too and easier to change. That's cool though to see that building get used for something.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I told you there was going to be no more Festival Center in there.
Thankfully.
I was wrong about Doctor Strange, although maybe they could do a tiny Doctor Strange because there's room for a show. There's room for interventions type hands-on play areas and stuff. And they really need more kid stuff in the park. Like they added a tiny playground, but this is even like a whole space just for kids is really good.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be very cool. I'm super glad to see them use that building.
And when they tear down Interventions, now they have a place to put meet and greets and hands-on activities.
So what you're saying is Interventions will just be over there.
Yeah, it's like the new Interventions, the new and improved Interventions, something for kids to do while the grown-ups are going on the 3, thrill rides around it.
I kind of hope they keep those Interventions buildings and do something useful with them.
Nope.
Don't ruin my dreams.
They're keeping Starbucks in the gift shop, and that's it.
Starbucks out in the middle of nowhere because there's no more building around it.
It'll be cool. You'll be able to see the Future World East and West. I think that'll be a good. If they get rid of the pin trading awnings, that whole area will be nice and clear.
You love those awnings.
Oh God, they're the bane of my existence.
They are your favorite.
One more little piece of news. I just wanted to mention that all of the trees, except for one, have been cleared in front of the Discovery Center at Islands of Adventure for the new Jurassic Park coaster. They tore up all the concrete, and it is an interesting, clear view that we've never seen before.
That's kind of cool. I can't wait to see this whole thing. I'm excited. I'm excited for that coaster.
And when I was there a few days ago, they are tearing up the bypass bridge that goes between Lost Continent and Jurassic Park, and they're tearing it down to rebuild it in exactly the same spot.
Hopefully, some kind of improvement, maybe.
Yeah, going from wood to like concrete stone type of thing, like going from temporary to permanent, I think is what's happening.
That works. I'm good. I'm excited to see that. It'd be nice to have some more movement there besides the Pteranodon flyers and Kronk.
Is that a growl?
Yeah, he's talking. He's got his rope
Okay.
he wants to play. Yes, everybody. I have a dog named Kronk.
Like The Emperor's New Groove.
Exactly, because he acts just like that, but as a dog.
I need to watch that movie again. It's the best. Excuse me, can I go home? I've been turned into a... Wait, which one is it?
I forget.
Oh, man. Best movie ever.
I gotta watch it again. Yeah. Pull the lever. Wrong lever. All right, sorry. My bad.
All the comments are going to be what animal he got turned into. No touchy.
Yeah, no touchy. Okay, what's next?
Next is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
Well, it's good to see they haven't kept up with the long names.
Yeah, no, it's nice and short. If you say it 5 times fast, you'll already be through the queue.
So you're saying the queue will be about 2 hour wait. So if you say it 5 times fast,
exactly,
it'll be done.
No, they released this the official name and the opening date of June 13th. They announced it at exactly the same time that Epcot announced those changes. It's still up for debate who announced first. I love that there's a debate about that. All we got, though, was one little tiny paragraph. There was no other details. It's a new poster that looks like the old poster, but they put Hagrid and the motorbike on there. And there's an official write-up that is 1 paragraph, 2 sentences long. And it says, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure will open on June 13th, 2019 in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade at Universal's Islands of Adventure and feature the most highly themed coaster yet. For the first time ever, guests will fly with Hagrid on a thrilling roller coaster ride that plunges into the path of some of the Wizarding World's rarest magical creatures.
Based on the name, I thought the paragraph was going to be the name in 2 words.
I mean, the paragraph is the name of the area, the name of the theme park, and then again the name of the parts of the ride name. So there's like only 10 words that aren't related to names in that whole statement.
And everyone's going to call it Hagrid or Hagrid's or motorbike ride or something.
Let's go get in line to ride Hagrid.
Yeah, it's going to be so awesome. So good. All you kids are going to make me so proud, and my super immature brain is going to be laughing the whole time.
What's interesting is that I actually reported on the name about a week and a half before they announced it.
You did?
Yeah, I just want to slip that in there. That I
of course you did. Alika.
Oh no! We already have that name trending in different places. We don't need to bring it in here.
Why not? Might as well just finish it.
What's funny is that I was told it was being shortened. The name was being shortened to either Hagrid's Magical Creatures or Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. They did not shorten it.
Oh, I was going to say maybe this is the shortened version.
Hagrid's Care of Magical Creatures in the Wizarding World on a motorbike through the Forbidden Forest at night.
Adventure.
Something like that.
I still think my name was better.
There's already been commercials on Sci-Fi all weekend. They've been playing the Harry Potter films and the Fantastic Beasts movie. And so there's already been at least one commercial that I've seen with Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy. And they're talking about, it's funny because the commercial is 30 seconds long and they say the name of the ride twice. So that's half the commercial. It's just saying the name.
Oh, man. They're like, thanks for coming out to say this name. We're good.
Yeah. And we had heard that Felton was recording some promo ads a few weeks ago. So it's interesting to see them start coming out this early. I say this early because there's a big reveal scheduled for March 11th in New York City, where all the media is being invited. And we think they're going to show some behind the scenes footage, have the actors there, really talk about that. Because all we got was a paragraph with this press release. So maybe the big everything is just in a few weeks.
That'd be nice. It'd be really nice. I mean, you mean the kids too? Even the
No,
actors?
I think Robbie Coltrane, is that his name?
Yeah, well,
Hagrid.
he
I
doesn't
think
mind.
we'll be seeing him, and then maybe some production designers and people that worked on the movies and the ride, and Universal creative people.
Oh, that's cool. That's not too bad. I mean, apparently Hermione's done because everyone loves that quote unquote sound alike they got. So I'm not touching
Really
that. That's all I'm
wrong.
saying. I'm not touching it. That's all I'm saying.
They know we're imposters. So okay, so we haven't really. This was our first episode. We talked about the new Harry Potter coaster, which is what we called it back then. And I think we devoted a whole episode to it, really.
Yeah, we did, if I remember correctly.
So since we talked about it, I wanted to bring up a couple changes that I've noticed about the ride now that we've seen some more construction. There's one of them is the part where we go up the spike and then go backwards. There is not going to be a building around that. It will not be pitch black dark as I initially thought. It will actually just be surrounded by trees, so we will still be out in the open.
Do you hear him?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that actually. You said though that we're entering a cave and then we're just going into the trees. That could be really cool.
Yeah, the cave looks pretty big too from the aerial photos.
Yeah.
So we still got the cave entrance, and what's more interesting is that in some new aerial photos, you can see that it looks like the Weasley flying car is now crashed onto that cave entrance.
Oh, that's interesting.
It was supposed to be right in the beginning of the ride. One of the first scenes was the car coming at you.
That's interesting.
But in recent months, I had heard rumors that scene was cut, and I'm like, you can't cut the car out. Like that's one of the things I was looking forward to seeing the most. But it looks like it was just moved to a later scene for whatever reason, either through a budget cut or it's possible that the Kuka arm idea of having a car on there in broad daylight maybe was not the most realistic effect.
Yeah, it would have been cool though. Well, I was kind of excited to see that.
Maybe they thought they couldn't pull it off. You never know if J.K. Rowling comes to look at something and it's like, yeah, that's not good enough. So we might need to make some changes.
The wear and tear on the arm outdoors kind of makes sense.
I mean, we
Like
still
you were
got
just
an
saying.
outdoor Fluffy.
That's cool.
So, they didn't cut anything really important, and the car is still going to be on the ride. And it's also possible that the car might appear twice on the ride, and this is just a second appearance. But
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that arm being outside in all the elements in Florida and stuff. I can imagine that could be a nightmare for maintenance.
it's also possible that this is the same flying car that was crashed out in front of the Dragon Challenge queue.
It
So
could be.
they're like
It's a good
reusing the
call.
same one, just sitting there and blinking and honking as we enter the cave.
That's fine. As long as it's there.
Yes, as long as it's there. It's an important character. And it's also on the Hogwarts Express. We still see it fly by.
Yeah, but that's not an actual looking car thing. That's on the screen.
Yeah, it's not. It's a window. It's a window.
Sorry, window. Well, technically, in England, it is a windscreen on the front of your car, so it can be a screen.
Don't get technical on me. Another thing I want to talk about, and I should say, anyone who hasn't joined us before, welcome to Spoilers the Podcast. At this point,
by Alicia.
Yeah, at this point, everything we're going to be talking about is pretty much spoilers for the ride, or at least rumored spoilers for the ride. I never say that, and then sometimes people complain, and it's like, oh, let's just assume that everything we're talking about is spoilers for something, because we're talking about things that haven't opened yet.
Yeah, the whole conceit of everything we record is rumors, and that's what Alicia writes about too. So if you're here not expecting spoilers, I don't know. I think you took a wrong turn.
So when I was talking about the rumored name for the new ride, I also released this leaked concept art. We have animals everywhere.
Zoo. The zoo is loose.
It's a magical menagerie here. Hey, hi, hi. So an anonymous source sent me a piece of concept art that is what the coaster is going to look like when it's done. It looks similar to some of the aerial photos that we've seen, and it's amazing too because before the announcement of when the opening date was going to be, if you compare the aerial photos to this concept art, they're pretty close to done. Well, what was cool to me when I saw it was how much water was in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say the water looks so good.
Like, because they haven't really filled that in. There was a little bit of water the other day because it rained and it actually filled in a little bit on its own. But like that running water, like all blue and beautiful in the concept art, I really hope it looks like that when it's done.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm really just happy to see something with some theming out there because Dueling Dragons was a fun ride, but it was like trees and water
Mhm.
and grass.
And the water was only just a retention pond, so if it hadn't rained in a while, it's just dirt and mud. So like this will actually be kept at a certain water level, so it'll actually be like a water feature that's supposed to be there.
So good. I'm happy about that. It'll be nice to have a roller coaster go through some stuff besides just trees, especially coming out of the original theming of that ride. That castle was great, and then nothing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. Like all of the theming was in the first bit, and then once you get on the ride, it was a great coaster. But I think this is going to be something that's themed all the way through, and it really fits the area better. Also, in
And
the concept art, did you see what looks like two little blobs sitting by the water? Do you think those are
yeah, I saw
animals?
those. I have no idea what those
They
are.
could be
They could
animals,
be.
right? Or blobs.
They
They could
could
be
be.
rocks.
They could be blobs. They could be rocks. They could be shading of some
I
kind.
don't know. They look like African buffalo that with the big horns that you see on like the safari ride at Animal Kingdom. Like
How close did you zoom in on those?
they're just blobs and I'm imagining that they're creatures. I want to believe that there are more creatures on the ride than I know about because I want to be excited about like if you're putting the name magical creatures trademark into the name of this roller coaster, I want to see some magical creatures trademark.
I'm sure. I'm sure they gotta have more creatures. Something down by a water feature would make total
Yeah,
sense.
the in the concept art, you could see the rock work where Fluffy's going to be hiding. You could see the entrance to the tall spike with the cave. But yeah, the concept art looks really great, and it's I can't wait till they plant all these trees because there are so many trees.
Yeah, it's gonna be great there.
Also, what's really cool is every building is covered in green moss in the concept art, and in the last few weeks, they've been adding a lot of the green moss and lichen theming to everything on site. So it's like way more than
So
I ever would have expected. Like it's not just old ruins; it's everything. The round building has green moss on it. The Q building has green moss on it.
so speaking of green moss in the Q building, you originally thought the queue was going to be like the kitchen in the Great Hall or something, and now we're thinking something else.
Yes. So I was told that we were going to see places of Hogwarts Castle that we hadn't seen before. So my initial thought was, oh, we're going to see places that weren't in the Forbidden Journey queue. But that's not the case. I think we're going to see places at Hogwarts Castle that no one's ever seen before that aren't in the movies, probably not even in the books.
So just empty, unused spaces.
I think because it's covered in moss and vines, maybe it's like an abandoned section of Hogwarts because there are parts of Hogwarts that are very old and there are parts that are newer. So maybe this is like something
Yep,
so old that it's like decommissioned. Like these are sections that aren't used anymore by the school.
that could be cool.
Well, they just put up like a slab above the entrance to the interior queue over like a gate that has carvings of unicorns and what looks like the Green Man, which is like a mythological being that has to do with nature.
Yeah, the Green Man. Yep.
And so I think this is where Hagrid's Care of Magical Creatures class is being held, at least for today.
So the casitas were students for the
I
day.
think so. I mean, that's what I've been piecing
Okay.
together. But by putting the magical creature's name into the ride title and having us, being toured around by Hagrid, it's entirely possible that what we're at is maybe an old section of the school that Hagrid's kind of taken over to use for his classes, at least for today. And inside, there'll be like old rooms that Hagrid's using Hagrid might be using one of them as a laboratory for creating blast-ended scroots because they're hybrid animals that he has to create himself.
And they're going to be on the ride?
And that is one of the things that we definitely know will be on the ride. Thank you. Yes, that is true.
Yes. That's
And
going to be
they
cool.
like blast fire and fight each other. And they're illegal. So Hagrid's all about doing things he shouldn't be.
Even better. Team Hagrid.
So, but also because the Green Man is on that, like the slab, I wonder if the vines and the moss covering everything has to do with something like a spell or a curse or something. I wonder
That
if
makes
it's a
sense.
temporary thing and it just happened recently, and that's part of the storyline.
That could make sense. I mean, the Green Man, that's kind of a cool thing to add in.
Yeah, like a whole new storyline, a story thread that we've never seen in the books or in the movies before, and Hagrid's having to deal with a couple problems all happening at once. Like
which would be about right for him.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his hands full. He's like this part of the school's taken over by Green Man, and he's got some blast-ended scroots that are loose, catching things on fire. Oh, look, here's Fluffy. So, of course, other people are dead set on the rumor that this is just how Muggles see Hogwarts, as old ruins that have been, that look dangerous to keep humans out of the area. But with the castle in the concept art and the castle scene while you're like getting into line, I just don't see why this would be how Muggles see Hogwarts, but then we can also actually see Hogwarts like at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think Rowling would let that fly either for the continuity.
Yeah, it seems a little confusing.
Very. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I thought that was an interesting idea, but since we all know you'll be able to see the actual castle that's there now, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, if you stand in front of the entrance to the new ride, the old Dragon Challenge entrance, you can see the castle on your left and you can see the ruins on your right at the same time. They're not hiding it.
But at the same time too, the queue is going through at least some part of the castle anyway, right?
I think so. A different part. I think that's what I believe. Like there'll be tunnels and catacombs separating the different rooms. Everything's covered in vines. I think they're utilizing some of the old Dueling Dragons Dragon Challenge queue with those tunnels.
Yep.
They used to be covered in skulls, then they were just rock. Now they'll be covered in vines, but they're getting their money's worth out of those catacombs. I'll tell you what.
That's fine. That was a cool area. I like that spot.
Yeah. I wonder if they're load-bearing tunnels. So, well, we might see some creatures in the actual queue or Hagrid and some kind of Musion effect. Not sure. I don't know if there's a pre-show or not, but I wouldn't be surprised since all the other e-tickets in the Wizarding World have a pre-show with Musion, or at least rooms with Musion while you wait.
They could do some cool stuff with Musion, like as long as you can't really see the screens, like in smaller, like a little thing with like some smaller creatures in it. Or
Skull Island does it the best with their fire. Is a Musion effect. Yeah. It looks so real when you first walk into the room with the witch, but also there's like a native that's a Musion effect hiding in one of the hidey holes, and it looks pretty convincing. So maybe there could be creatures in some way incorporated into the queue through effects.
Yeah, I hope so.
So speaking of creatures, there's a Cornish pixie on the poster.
Yeah.
So I assume they're somewhere on the ride. I was guessing they were going to be with the flying car, but now that they've moved the flying car, I'm not so sure. So maybe that's something we could see in the queue.
That would make sense.
And that would be great for a Musion effect.
That would be really fun. Or if there was some way to make it seem like they're flying overhead and stuff too.
Oh, that would be creepy. I love it. Like you're waiting in line and there's just a flock of them above you.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be so fun. So fun.
Well, there's other magical creatures we know for sure are going to be there. Fluffy's definitely going to be there. We can actually see in new aerial photos that there's what appears to be a giant Fluffy animatronic covered in plastic underneath the rocks. So it looks like Fluffy is on site already.
I love Fluffy. I'm so excited. I'm going to try to get off the ride and hug him.
It does slow down right there, so it'll be the easiest spot to hop out.
Perfect.
We'll know the blast-ended Scroot's going to be there. There'll be carriages in the first scene of the ride. Yeah, so I wonder if there'll be a Thestral there, but I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Maybe some people will be able to see it. That's actually kind of sad. Well, there used to be
on this.
Yeah,
you people on this train have seen death. You can see the Thestral.
Yeah, that'd be weird if it was random. Like people get off the ride, like, did you see the Thestral? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm so sorry.
They're actually pretty popular. I think it'd be kind of It'd be pretty bad if they didn't have them on there. It'd
I
be
mean,
really
that could
cool
be
to
a
see one.
cool Musion effect where they can do like Hagrid's like, to help you see, I'm gonna throw a flour bag on top of him, and all of a sudden, like it appears like something neat right at the first scene to be able to see a Thestral would be
Something
amazing.
neat, and you come up with a bunch of
I
flour.
don't know, and he's not supposed to do magic, but he can like wave his umbrella and like a little like shoot of like cloud of something comes out. That would be neat, actually.
Uh,
They used to
yeah.
have a Thestral carriage at the exit for the train with a bunch of luggage around it. And it would just like kind of move an inch forward and a couple inches back and forth. So you were supposed to assume that there was a Thestral there. It was just invisible. So I wonder if they just moved. Oh, they're repurposing everything. They're just going to move that carriage onto the ride.
Come on, they got to do something. There's got to be a Thestral scene.
Yeah,
People love those
it would
things.
be neat.
It would be awesome.
Of course, the Devil's Snare I think is what's in the drop track section.
I am so excited for that, just because I've never done a roller coaster with that before.
Oh, the drop track. Yeah, me neither.
Yes,
It looks pretty exciting. You just you're going to be going in backwards and then all of a sudden just drop out of nowhere. I assume there'll be like a flash of light or something, or Hagrid or someone's going to save us. But the Devil's Snare, hopefully they actually have like moving tentacle roots coming at us, so we like feel like we're actually getting trapped.
if they do, and then you get a flash of light and you drop at the same time the light flashes, that would be
It
pretty
would,
jarring and fun.
yeah.
Super dark room and a blinding light.
Mm-hmm. And
Oh
then
yeah, I'm in.
when you land, it's like the base of the trees of the forest, and then you launch out. I'm hoping after that scene, because I don't know if there's any more creatures, I'm hoping there's maybe some unicorns.
You want
I
unicorns?
really want a unicorn.
Are you after its blood?
No, I was watching that earlier on Sci-Fi, and I'm like, I don't want to see unicorn blood. I don't want to see a dead unicorn. I want to see a live unicorn. This movie is
As a
too sad.
Sagittarius, I want to see a centaur.
Yeah, that would be cool too.
Yeah, I think it would be
I
cool.
don't consider them creatures though. They're too
Uh,
humanoid to be creatures to me.
yeah, but they're in the
That's
forest.
true. They are in the dark forest. So we could, who knows, centaurs. I think there's going to be statues of different animals in the queue. So that might be a way that we can see some different animals, and maybe Hagrid's even teaching us about it while we're waiting in line. So we might see like a mermaid statue, kind of a way to, cross that off the list.
I wonder if they'll move.
The statues?
It's, yeah,
Oh yeah, I guess that's possible with magic and all.
yeah. You mean there's mermaids and the mermaid statue can move?
What I hope we don't see and what I think we won't see is more spiders, dragons, or a Whomping Willow. Because people ask me that all the time, like, will there be a Whomping Willow?
Whoa.
It's like, we've got a Whomping Willow on the other ride, and it's like a big part. It's a big, like the dragon is a big part of both of the other rides. There's two different
I am
dragons.
okay with more dragons.
Never enough
Always.
dragons.
Always okay with more
I'm
dragons.
not okay with more spiders. And it's not because
Really, you don't like spiders?
no, I'm not scared of spiders. It's just like that's a huge chunk of the Forbidden Journey ride. It's just spiders. And
It's because you
apparently
fly
spiders
toward a.
spit at you.
Oh.
That's how Universal sees everything. Like, how can we spray you with something? Spiders spray. Do they?
Uh,
Do they though?
no, not really. I think there might be a species that can, but I don't
Don't
know.
answer me with real answers.
I have a I have a friend that hates spiders, so I mean it's kind of fun, and I have a spider tattooed on my arm. So
Who knows? Maybe they'll really magical creature up the ride and just throw in spiders or other things we're not even thinking of,
well, I
just like
mean,
randomly.
considering all the other cues, I'm expecting this cue to be pretty immersive and cool. Like things are gonna move, and I mean they wouldn't just do up all the other cues and this one sit. So
There was a rumor that they might take some of the puppeteering stuff, like they do for Halloween Horror Nights or the Raptor Encounter, and they might actually do creatures through the queue as puppets. I don't
that's not
know.
too bad.
I don't know if that actually made it through or if that's what's been changed, because there was rumors of upgrades happening to the queue and changes happening, and that was an older rumor. So I wonder. Again, I have to wonder if like the people in charge of the Harry Potter property went through and like saw their tests, and it's like nope, nope, and nope. It's
Yeah,
like
but I'm saying like you're gonna have people sit there with puppets like every day. You're gonna pay them.
Well,
You
they
just
pay
kind of on.
someone at Skull Island to jump out in native makeup at you.
That's true.
And it's been successful. And everyone said they're going to cut that. They're going to cut that. It's still happening. So,
Which is so good. I'm so happy they kept that.
same thing with Jimmy Fallon. Everyone's like, they're going to get rid of the live music, and they still have it.
We don't
Ragtime
talk about
Gals.
that attraction. We
Hey,
don't
I
talk about
love
that
the
attraction.
pre-show. The ride's okay, but I actually love hanging up there. You could charge your phone, you could play video games, you watch the
I like
Ragtime Gals.
I like the safety spiel. That's about it.
The museum downstairs has got all the cool stuff from the show.
Museum. It's like little window decorations.
It's technically a museum. It's got old cameras. It's got props.
It is kind of cool. I never really was a Tonight Show
It's
person. I
got
mean, I
the
watched it a little bit.
insult comic dog
Triumph.
for me to poop on.
Exactly. I love Conan.
It wouldn't be an episode of this podcast without me doing weird voices. So I think that is going to cover all of the new stuff and changes for the Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, opening June 13th, 2019 at Universal's Islands of Adventure at Universal Orlando in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade.
Kitty's excited too.
I cannot believe how many words that is.
It's ridiculous.
Just saying the name of the land and the park and the ride takes up like 45 seconds.
All of the words.
If you want to see a scene by scene track layout, just visit my website, orlandoparkstop.com, or my Twitter. Just search for Alicia Stella on Twitter, and I've pinned the track layout for the rides. So you can kind of see what every scene is going to be like.
It's going to be fun, kids. You should be excited. Even if you're kind of one of those people that's starting to try to be quote unquote edgy and not like any more Harry Potter in the world.
Yeah, you don't have to like Harry Potter to like a really good ride.
Nope. Be happy for awesome rides.
And I should mention, even though it's technically grand opening June 13th, Universal does something called technical rehearsals in the weeks leading up to their rides usually. Well,
and we got invited?
No. Usually it's referred to by the public as soft openings, wherein when the work walls come down, usually the next day or a couple days later, they will start letting guests test out the ride. It helps the team members get used to loading and crowds, and it lets everyone know like what's going to work and what's not going to work. Sometimes not all of the effects are on during technical rehearsals, and they're still working out some of the kinks, but it may mean that you might be able to ride this as soon as the end of May.
I volunteer as tribute.
All right. Dun, da, da, da. Listener questions.
Oh boy.
How many episodes ago did we promise this was going to happen?
Only 2. I think we missed one. We were supposed to do them.
Only 2.
Sorry, kids.
That's 60 days for us, so.
Not this time.
Not this time.
Faster.
I know. This is amazing. Maybe if Universal announced more stuff, we'd have to do more of these emergency podcasts.
Yeah, or if people sign up for Patreon, we'd have some more podcasting to do.
Ooh. Yes, that's true. It's foreshadowing. We'll talk about that later. We have a long list of questions. We'll get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to your question, we might get to it next week. Let's see. The first one. Ryan Sally on Twitter asks, do you think Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure will have an express line upon opening, or will they wait a few years like they did with Forbidden Journey and Gringotts? I know that the plans have an express line in them, and they're building an express line, but they might not open it for a few months. I think that's what they did with Skull Island and the Jimmy Fallon ride. So
yeah, I was going to say this seems to be what they do. They kind of just let it be a free for all, basically, for a little while.
But I don't think they'll let it go too far. Maybe just the summer, and then when it becomes slow season again, they'll turn the express on when they've worked out the kinks. Because I think the lines are going to be long as it is.
You think it's going to be long? You think the lines are going to be long?
Yeah.
No one likes Harry Potter, right?
Speaking of long lines, Muggle148 on Twitter asks, do you think the opening of Galaxy's Edge will have more people than the opening of Hogsmeade?
Yes.
No. Yes? No. Wait.
Yes.
In Disneyland, maybe. In Florida,
yes.
No. Are you sure? Did you see the line around City Walk?
I've seen plenty of pictures around City Walk. Star Wars has been around a long, long time. long time.
But Star Wars has
So,
had lots to satiate their there's already been a Star Wars ride for 20 some odd years at the parks.
exactly.
There was
One ride
there was
for
never
20
a Harry
years.
Potter ride until that land opened. And
But this is the thing. I think even the people that are like fans of both will be excited for the stuff they're promising that's going to be in Galaxy's Edge.
we'll see, but I don't think anything will be no one will have been as unprepared as Universal was for that opening. That was no one could have suspected it was going to be that big. This is
Well,
something that people suspect will be big, and therefore maybe less people will go.
well, to be fair too, they Walt Disney World's going to have Disneyland to watch
Yeah.
first.
Well, that's why I say
So they'll probably,
Disneyland maybe will tie with the craziness, and Disney World all the crazy Star Wars fans would have already traveled to California, so they don't have to wait in line for ours.
which is why they should have made them two different areas. Sorry.
Or open them at the same time and split the traffic, because now it's all on
Yeah,
Disneyland
but
to hold those people, and it's not a big park.
nope. And it's kind of not cool that they're using what's more or less a locals park to guinea pig for the world's park. Mac from YouTube wants to know, with Fantastic Worlds leaving space available for future expansion, how much land are they talking about, and would they consider a second theme park on that plot of land? I think we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, we talked about that in episode 3, I want to say. Because it was confusing because it was episode 3, fourth park.
Glad you remember.
Yeah, well, we did. We talked about because the Fantastic Worlds Park is a little bigger than Islands of Adventure, without a lagoon though, so it'll have more
Yeah.
space. And then they still have the gigantic flat parking lot, and then there's more space to the right that they can't build on for another couple years. So down the line, they could do what they did at Universal Orlando to begin with, which was turn the parking lot into city walk and new hotels and build a parking garage and add a second park. So they could, if they added a parking garage, they could build another park there later, if they even thought there was enough demand for that many parks.
I think they will. Then they'll be able to say that they're tied with the mouse
For
sure.
real instead of just pretending.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they probably could find a way to weasel some more land to get even another water park and then be like park for park.
Yeah, I think they might even be buying a little bit more land. Some land just went up for sale, so they definitely have a lot of land for water park and other hotels. But there is enough space
Which,
to put a second actual theme park on this land if they wanted to later on.
and don't ask why they have to wait to build on that land. You really don't want to know.
I was I was on the Simpsons ride, and during the pre-show, it's like the Nerdenheimer guy. He's talking about what the nuclear power can do to you, and he's like, you could have a third arm or a nose where your eye should be, which could be painful. So,
Which will be the warning you'll get if they build on that land.
so something like that. But in a couple of years, it'll be fine. They're almost done cleaning it up.
In a couple of years, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Completely safe.
And
Don't worry, I don't.
it's not nuclear waste, it's just poison. So Mac Clark also asked on Twitter months later. We haven't gotten to questions lately. Will the queue for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure feature Musion and/or animatronics, or will Universal try something different with this queue? And I think we kind of covered it, but the something different would be some kind of puppets or actors interacting in interesting ways.
I think I don't. I think the actor thing is interesting, considering like we said a few minutes ago that the Skull Island guy is still in there, or
Mm-hmm.
girl. I think it'd be cool to have somebody in there.
And they have Musion and animatronics in the Skull Island queue, so I think keeping that going. I mean, they have there's also that big worm at the end of the Skull Island queue. I love that thing.
Yeah, I think's cool.
So stuff
I
like
just
that would be great.
I feel bad for the actor if it's not like the character is one thing, but somebody that's out there being an actor in that queue while people are like waiting for like 6 hours or something like that. I feel so bad for that
Like
person.
a hippogriff a puppet, because they had really good puppets for like the Halloween Horror Nights houses, either Alien versus Predator, the
Everyone talks about
werewolf
American,
in
yeah, Werewolf in
London.
London.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great puppets. So something along those lines, I actually could work.
Okay, Otto from YouTube. Love the podcast. Thank you. Question: Disney announced a theater in Magic Kingdom that didn't get built, although land was cleared. Universal has a ton of rumors. Let's say half of them are true,
Hmm.
where they changed their mind. Is the theme park business so short term, or are there other reasons?
Both.
Yeah, so like they, what do they always say? Like never count on anything until it's actually like built and open.
Yeah, not announced because you because
Yeah,
Disney will
not even
announce something
announced.
and then realize, oh, wait a minute, there's a sinkhole here.
Yeah, but there is a difference there because Universal puts off their announcements and Disney likes to do the hype thing, so they
Hmm.
announce early.
Right, and that's why we end up things like the Magic Kingdom theater that doesn't get built because maybe they got talked out of it by back of house people. They're like, we can't have guests back here. This is like where we bring in all the merchandise and the food and the restaurant and the garbage. Like, you can't just make this open all day.
Yeah.
So or there's a sinkhole back there, or they just ran out of money and budgeted for something else. Who knows what the actual reason is? Universal, on the other hand, we hear a ton of rumors, and I think that they just don't know what they're doing yet.
I think it's
Yeah,
more fun though because I like to speculate. It's fun to like kind of blue sky. So
yeah. They have this new section of land, and they're kind of like unsure what to do with the original resort because whatever they do with the original resort needs to really hold up for a long time because they're not going to be making as many changes as they have been in the last 10 years over the next 10 years because they have the new resort to build.
yep. But again, just to finish that off, don't believe anything until it's open and you're actually going on it, or somebody is has footage of it. Things change. Things change instantly in theme park world for many reasons.
Brian on Facebook asks, do you think Universal will ever pull a mea culpa and redo Fast and Furious? There's precedence for a theme park realizing their ride is awful and changing it right away. Superstar Limo. Um,
Journey into imagination.
Journey into your imagination.
Doesn't
Yes,
matter. Still journey into a crap ride.
I like this question because yes. Do you think Universal would redo Fast and Furious? Yes, I do. Uh,
Yeah, I think they need to.
I think there's been rumors of the people that are important touring the ride and checking it out, and they got the clipboards and they're making notes and they're pointing at things, and I think what's going through their mind is, how can we make this less terrible? So
Anything, literally anything, will make it less terrible.
I think within the next 2 to 3 years, there may be some changes. I don't know what, but I wouldn't mind them making it 3D like it originally was supposed to be. I actually think that would improve the experience.
If they turned off all the screens and you rode through on the bus, it would be better.
Well, they've added so much fog effects lately that you actually can't see the screens, and that's already a
No, it's
vast
fine.
improvement. It's already
That's much
improved it a
better.
hundred times.
I
Okay.
would be okay with them making Skull Island longer. I like that ride. I wish it was longer.
Yeah. Well, they just need a giant animatronic Vin Diesel head like King Kong at the end, and then the ride will be
Yeah,
just as good.
that's scarier than King Kong.
Richard,
What is happening inside the old Terminator building? Didn't you do an article?
I did. I'll link to it. I just wanted to answer real quick. Jason Bourne stunt show.
I
Dave
know
on
you're super.
Facebook asked.
Richard's super excited about Bourne stunt show, like everybody, right? We're all super excited.
The
All right,
Bourne
Dave. Sorry.
Stuntacular.
Yay!
Dave on Facebook asks, do you know or care to speculate on how Universal will transport guests at its original location to its new Fantastic Worlds? I would love to see an elevated light rail or a monorail a la Vegas system along Universal Boulevard.
Buses.
Not just buses, dedicated bus lanes for buses.
Yay! They're really busting out the big bucks. We got our own lane for the buses.
It's possible in 5 to 10 years that when automated driving technology is more accepted, that these bus lanes will become automated, like autonomous buses lanes. Because they don't have to fight with traffic. They'll have their own lane. It'll be a little safer to introduce them before it kind of catches on through the whole country. So, it's possible they're thinking ahead. And also, it's only like a 2.5 to 5 minute drive. So I don't think we need anything too crazy.
No, it would be cool. I mean, I'm with you, Dave. Having like the monorails or the light rails, those are all cool, but they're super expensive. Sadly, which is why Disney is doing the Skyliner instead of monorails. Just remember, kids, there's no air conditioner on those,
But they
so
move so
hopefully they're
fast. The air's going
yeah.
to like fly in there. It's fine.
The fan.
Did
It's
you
going to
see
be
how fast
100%
they go?
humidity. It's going to be 100% humidity and 100 degrees outside, but it's going to go fast and the windows don't open. It's going to be awesome.
They
No, I think
they
they're going to be fine.
they're claustrophobic death traps, but they're going fast, so at least you won't be in there very long.
Apparently, in other countries, they tried those things out and they're fine. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
they work in Brazil and it's hot there.
It is in Brazil, really?
Someone pointed out, I think in the YouTube comments for our last podcast, that the Three Caballeros takes place in Mexico and Brazil. My
It
apologies.
does.
My
It does.
apologies. I did not realize that they are in multiple places, so we could put that ride in 2 pavilions.
That's a good idea. Whoever pointed that out, we can have that and it's double. Part 2.
Have it connect all the way through the backstage area as a long boat ride, and
Don't
it starts in one and ends
don't
in the
don't
other.
tease. Don't tease. It becomes transportation with
Yeah,
Donald Duck and the
just
caviar.
like the
Don't
Japan
tease. Don't
train
tease.
that takes you
Don't
to
tease.
France.
The bullet train
Yeah, the bullet train takes you to France. This
goes
one takes you to Brazil.
goes so fast it gets you there in 2 minutes.
So,
Okay.
oh,
Nope. I
was it
get
your
to
turn to
ask.
read? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's my turn.
Sorry.
This is perfect for Alicia. Aaron on Twitter. How did the boats on Jaws work?
You pressed a button.
And they followed a track.
That's it. It's funny because the Jungle Cruise actually has a real throttle and an engine, and it's a
Yep.
real boat. It's just tethered to a center rail. Whereas the Jaws boats is because it has motion base and would go like left and right when the shark appeared. It's completely timed and it had to make sure all the effects and the sound cues and music cues all worked. All I ever had to do was press one little button, and then it would go and like they would be off. It would just be off.
And then Alicia would pretend to drive both of them because she
Yes.
did both of them.
Yeah, that's true. But I like the Jungle Cruise because you could control the speed, and if it's like a slow day, that you could just stop and tell people, "We're not going until you laugh at these jokes." You couldn't do that on Jaws. Jaws, once you start, you're going. So like it is interesting that the Jungle Cruise is kind of like a real boat, but you'd also can feel the rail when it hits. Whenever it turns, it would like dunk 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 dunk.
Did you derail your boat on Jungle Cruise ever?
No, I did not derail. No, but I have
Are
hit
you
a boat.
sure?
I did hit a boat before. Because if there's a
Of
backup and
course.
you're not paying attention because you're too busy spieling, you will keep driving until you eventually hit something.
I knew it.
It was just
There's no
it's a
way
little
now.
love tap right in front of Trader
Uh-huh.
Sam. Just a little love tap.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sure the person in front of you thought it was funny too.
Universal Pass Holder on Twitter asks, how do you generally respond about Universal's Fantastic Worlds adaptation path to creating the next generation of theme park experience, and how will this affect other Universal parks and resorts? Love your vids. Oh, we love you too. I don't know. I think it's going to be, they think that they're breaking the mold, but if it's a hub and spoke design, I think they're just reinventing what's already been invented.
Well, to be fair, that's kind of what Walt did is he took things that were invented and found cool ways to use them.
If it really
So,
is going to be like you can only get to each land from the hub, that's very early Disneyland. And eventually they realized that it's too hard and it's too congested, and they put the little connections between them. So I wonder if they're going to make a mistake here or if that rumor just isn't true. But as far as the way everything is built, I think they're just taking what they've learned in recent years from like things like Diagon Alley and just expanding on it.
yeah, I think there's ways to do the hub and spoke with like an outer wheel kind of thing with transitions. I don't think that's out of the question or unthinkable the way they do it at Magic Kingdom, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I
I
like the
mean,
Magic
they do
Kingdom.
those. Yeah, they do those transitions really well too. Like they're pretty seamless.
Yeah, so you
I
have
think.
portals from the center and then side portals.
Yeah, exactly. But you're just going to transition into like you said, like Diagon Alley more than like Frontierland. It's going
Well,
to be
even
more like
Diagon Alley has an entrance and an exit, and I think that's more what we're going to see. Super Nintendo World, the plans for Kid Zone would have the main entrance through the pipe, but then it also had side exits over by ET and by the SpongeBob store. So there's multiple entry points and exits, but there's the one main entrance that they want you to go to first.
we'll see. We'll see what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be something a little bit at least new, a new way of doing it, even if it's the same old hub and spoke.
I'm still sad they're not going to put a hotel for every land.
They should.
They should have.
As long as they do the Dracula castle, we'll be fine. Alaska and Tush people? on Twitter. If there's a Universal Monster World in the new park, what kind of rides do you foresee in that world? Is that the question you were trying to hide from me?
Yes. There's been some
Dark
talk
ride.
of,
Dark ride.
strangely enough, a non-ride attraction, like a walkthrough attraction, maybe even like a maze.
Boo.
Not
Boo.
like a haunted house Halloween Horror Nights maze, but more like a almost Poseidon's Fury type walkthrough attraction with storyline and stuff. So it could be like our story through something that's monster related, and a way
Dark
to
ride.
incorporate multiple. Well, I've heard another one too. Maybe Creature from the Black Lagoon gets a boat ride.
That's good too. Boat ride, dark ride.
Yeah,
I
I
could
mean
see
same
it.
thing.
I could see a flying coaster for like Dracula
See, I
because he
don't.
flies around like a bat.
They could take the old Beastly Kingdom idea. It had bat wings.
But well, seriously, like if they do a dark ride, they could just do like all the monsters in one ride, kind of like the Great Movie Ride, but for like horrors.
That's what I
Classic.
want. I want like a haunted mansion best of monsters thing, but that's not something I actually have heard rumored yet. That's just something I want. For as far as rumors, some kind of walkthrough attraction and a boat ride is what I've
Who do
heard
we
for
talk to?
rumors.
Who do we talk to? Who do I call?
The head of Universal Creative.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back.
Todd from Twitter asks, any new information about changes for the Lost Continent at Universal Orlando? No. No, there's no new information about changes at Lost Continent.
Nope, not since they canceled what they didn't announce.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't
Yeah,
that Zelda?
exactly. And I think that they're just gonna hold off because they're doing the Jurassic coaster. They just did the Potter coaster, and now, maybe give it a little break for a little bit. And it's really just now a long walkway to Potter between Seuss and Potter. There's not much to do there. It's beautiful though. I take
Yeah,
pictures.
I was gonna say it looks cool in there, and I like Mythos. I'm probably one of the
Yeah.
few people, but I love that restaurant, even if it's just to sit in there and be in that atmosphere.
It was voted the best theme park restaurant a decade ago.
I was gonna say what, like a decade ago.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I need to say thank you to the people that work there because they let us in once, and we didn't have a reservation, and they were quote unquote full, but there was just two of us, and I pouted a little bit because that's my stop, and it was my fault I didn't make a reservation. All right, Harry on Twitter. With Nintendo moving to the new park, what's the shelf life of ET, and what would you use that space for if you could? I don't think ET is going anywhere.
ET better not go anywhere.
I don't think Mr. Spielberg would let that happen.
That's the rumor anyway. I think that rumor's been blown out of proportion.
I think a little bit, but I still think this is the last one. I would imagine he'd like to keep it.
Oh no, he would be upset. But
Oh yeah.
any threats that or things you've heard, like I think that's just an exaggeration. He heard it closed in Hollywood and he was very upset, but that doesn't mean. I love the rumor that like he's going to pull out of his contract. They begged him to get out of his contract a couple of years ago. They offered him a truckload of money and he said, "Nope, I enjoy my millions of dollars that you pay me every single year for my 5% of all the gate of all Universal parks." Yeah, he's not going to give that up even if he's upset.
No.
If anything, he's going to keep it because he's upset.
Yeah, I think they'll want to keep him a little bit happy though, considering it's the last version of that ride. But if you could put something in there, what would you put in there?
E.T.
Okay, then moving on. Sorry, Harry. We kind of both like ET, even though it's kind of charming and it's weird turning mannequins thing for me at least. But if they upgraded it, or updated it, I wouldn't be upset. But
and speaking of, Bobby asks, if you were part of Universal Creative, what would you do with Kid Zone?
Burn it down and put back what used to be there.
The Bates Motel and a walkway to the Hard Rock?
That's it. I'm good. It's more useful to me than the Kid Zone. Bring back the Bates Motel.
It's funny because if you had asked me this question at different periods of time over the last decade or so, I would have a different answer. 10 years ago, I might have said, like, I think it should be SpongeBob and like Bikini Bottom and rides and water slide and a restaurant with, Krusty Krab. And now, or between then and now, I would have said Scooby-Doo Land and like a dark ride and different meet and greets and a little stage show. But now I actually think Nick Jr. should get some presents, and I think we should have like Paw Patrol and What else do they have? Bubble Guppies, Shimmer and Shine. I think you
I
could
don't
really
watch
do.
this stuff.
I think you could really do like take out Barney and make it a sing along with or something with characters kids actually recognize, and redo the play area, redo the coaster, and kind of keep the zone just for kids and make it a fun kids area with
As long
things that
as
kids actually know what they are.
keep the troll that farts glitter,
Yeah, well, that's
please.
most important.
Because it offends some people, and that makes it even more funny for me because I'm a jerk like that. But still, I think it's awesome.
Oh, and I also did say last year, I think a boat ride starring the trolls, a dark ride would be great right there too. So you have like
That
ET
would be
dark
great.
ride and trolls dark ride. I think we're gonna end up seeing that at the new park, but I wouldn't be opposed to any dark ride, honestly,
I'm good with the Trolls Dark Ride.
as long as it's all ages. We keep it kids because it is the kid zone.
I mean, I don't watch any of those things you were talking about, but I still am a giant kid, so I'll probably be happy to go on any of those. I just don't really have any draw to anything in there right now. I'm okay with the Bates Motel coming back too.
I think we have time for one more question. Jade asks, "What is the future of Fox IP in the Universal Parks, Simpsons, etc.? Are those license contracts public? Could we see Disney extend those licenses as a trade for the Marvel assets?"
So, my original thought when they were talking about buying Fox was trading The Simpsons for Marvel, but I don't know if that's going to happen, considering
Or
all the considering that all of Disney has done with Marvel, with the properties that Universal has in their parks, like in some of the comics have been discontinued and so on and so forth. They played a lot of dirty tricks, but none of it seems to bother Universal. Um, I don't think The Simpsons are going anywhere. It's free money for Disney, and there's a
and
contract.
I don't think it's even close to an even trade. It's like,
No,
hey, would you like to let us keep this dying cartoon show that no one watches anymore? No, not no one. That barely anyone watches anymore. That
blasphemy.
they got rid of the guy who did the music for it. I think that was the last straw for me, Alf Clausen. Like even I don't
Yeah,
watch it anymore, and I was hanging on. It's lost its soul. The area is fun, but they could easily retheme that ride to something else. Meanwhile, Marvel Superhero Island, they retracked the whole coaster. They redid the Spider-Man ride with 4K, re-rendered it. They just recently added some new effects a couple months ago. Like they are keeping up with it because it's in the contract that they don't lose the Marvel license as long as they keep that land up to date and technologically advanced. Meanwhile, the Simpsons contract is up every 10 years or so. So, in the next 5 to 8 years, when it's up for renegotiation, if Disney wants the Simpsons back, Universal will just be like, fine, whatever.
yep. And Universal has enough like IP. If they really wanted to dig into something, they could replace all of that and turn it into something else. I'd have to
Yeah,
look at the list,
exactly.
the full list again to see, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
don't.
could be a Illumination property that they haven't made a movie for yet, but in 8 years, a movie comes out and it does well, they'd be like, yeah, we'll just replace the Simpsons with this new movie.
Yeah, the tricky part is there's gonna have to be some kind of huge monetary exchange for Disney to get Marvel back for the theme park rights.
Yeah, no, that's where yeah, they're gonna have
And
to park that giant truck that was going to Spielberg's house at Universal and be like,
yeah,
"Please, please, please," because there's no even trade without something, like, monetary here. It just doesn't make sense.
the only other argument would be that it's going to be, as far as the general public, not the comic book readers out there, but it's going to be more and more of a disconnect because those characters don't look like the movies.
Yeah, but the movies aren't gonna look like the movies 10 years from now when they reboot them.
Exactly. But I'm
I
saying,
think
like,
it
as far
I
as
keeping it comic book, at least it's timeless.
it is, but at the same time, it's not going to resonate with everybody forever since it's going to be the comic book characters that are kind of frozen.
I
So,
love the Spider-Man ride, it's the best ride ever, and
yeah, I like it.
any
I
Scott
will,
in Scott We Trust.
yes, exactly.
I think they're gonna tear down one of the restaurants in Doctor Doom's Fearfall. Maybe could be 10 years from now, and they're gonna build a new dark ride with physical sets. And
Good.
that as long as they keep adding and improving that land, they will not lose that contract, which happens to be in perpetuity. And there's
Yep.
nothing really Disney can do about it.
Nope, because that's what happens when you get a contract signed when a company is really hurting.
Yeah,
You get whatever you want.
it's amazing how like opposite end of the spectrum Marvel is now than it was in the 90s.
It's ridiculous, but so good. I'm so happy.
If you want your question read on the ParkStop podcast, you can ask it on social media with the hashtag AskParkStop, and we may get to it eventually.
Or if you don't want to wait for us, you can go and join our Facebook group and we will talk to you. We're pretty active in there, or I am.
Yep.
Usually Alicia's writing articles and doing important things.
Just search groups on Facebook for Theme Park Stop, and we'll let you join and we could talk about things.
And if you want more awesome stuff to come out, always happy to see Patreon people join the support. And we have ideas for shows once we get to a certain point that Alicia has set.
When we reach 40 or more patrons, we will start an exclusive podcast series that will be for members only. But if you join now for as little as $1, you will get early rumors before anyone else and podcast episodes days before they are actually released to the public. And every little bit helps to get more podcasts and videos made and more information out there.
Yep, I just show up.
Patreon.com/themeparkstop.
Yeah, I just show up. She does all the work, kids. And the cat helps, apparently.
When she's not stuck to the chair.
I was going to say, what is going on over there?
The noise is coming from your end.
Oh, no.
What's going on over there?
I know what's going on over here in my kitchen.
That's going to do it for this episode. All about Hagrid's magical creatures motorbike adventure through the dark forest at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Hogsmeade, at Islands of Adventure, Universal Orlando Resort. We hope you had fun.
And a little bit of Epcot.
A little bit. And we got to your questions. It finally happened.
You're welcome, I think. I don't know.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.